I thought that I would try a live stream, and if the signal isn't too brilliant, then I'll stop it and pre-record. So anyway, yeah, at the Tower of London again, as the video title suggests, and yeah, I'm going to hopefully show you around some things and give you some information that happened previously. So I haven't actually planned out any route. I'm just gonna ad-lib, as it were. So I'm within the tower walls, but outside of the original even tower wall. So if you see here, where I'm standing at one stage was water. This is, I think it's called River Walk. So yeah, at one stage those were I think they were still the inner walls, but waterborne vessels could approach and go through portcullis entrances, which are still there but are obviously filled in now. So that's that part. Let's keep walking. There's a polar bear, an art installation, and that kind of commemorates or signifies the existence of a menagerie here. It's prior to the invention or the adoption of the word zoo, and that was for some 400 years. Like, various heads of state would gift exotic animals to the monarch of the time. So I'm standing outside the Wakefield Tower, which was constructed during between 1220 and 1238, and that's there. And it currently houses a torture exhibition, which I showed you in a different video, I do believe. So, okay, here's something to look at. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this here is Traitor's Gate, and for anyone who's unfamiliar, hello. Yeah, this is where treasonous convicts, so people who'd been accused, I think, of most likely convicted of treason or being traitors to the crown, would enter by this route. I know at least one queen did, although I wouldn't like to step out on a limb and say which one. So above Traitor's Gate, you can see this structure. That's St Thomas's Tower, and that's named, so that was built between 1275 and 1279, and unless I'm very much mistaken, it's named in honour of Thomas à Becket. That's a whole other chapter of history, but excuse me, the reason it's, or part of the story surrounding its naming after him, is that his apparition was sighted numerous times by numerous people on St George's Day usually, which is April 23rd, St George's being the patron saint of England. So yeah, Thomas à Becket was sighted, his apparition, confounded construction works because the apparition was corporeal, according to reports, and would tap the walls of, I'm not sure if it's what was being built here, and it would need to be rebuilt, I think at least twice. So yeah, after this was named for him, that apparition even ceased to appear. So that's a little bit of trivia, I guess, about this place. So that's, again, that's St Thomas's Tower, even though it's not a tower. I think maybe that part. And that's Traitor's Gate. So now I'm going to walk through the portcullis there for the Bloody Tower, which is, if you've got really good eyes, you can see is 1225 AD. And this is going into the inner sanctum, I guess. The location of the White Tower is on my right as I walk through. Crown Jewels are housed immediately in front of me, although I can't remember the name of that building. So as you come through the portcullis of Bloody Tower, the Bloody Tower even, that's a corner aspect of the White Tower, which was completed at the behest of William I. In 1078 it was completed. That's the oldest part of the tower, the original structure, as it were. And as I come along, I don't see it written anywhere. Let's see what that does say. Okay, so the Bloody Tower, which we just walked beneath, was built by Henry III, King Henry III. A grand chamber on the upper floor connected to the rest of his palace stood beyond this defensive wall. And the fact that that's in the past tense makes me feel like, yeah, there's no structure there now. Okay, so what I was going to show you. So originally, London in the 1000s was a walled city, a very small, comparatively, compared to what it is now for sure, very small city. And if you see the part of the tower there where the bottom of that sort of outer pillar looks damaged and there's some wall structure there, I may be wrong, but I believe that's potentially part of the original wall, because the tower sat on the original London wall in order to intimidate and show off basically about the Battle of Hastings. We're getting over it slowly, but yeah, actually there's a sign on this part of the ancient wall that says Cold Harbour Gate 1238. So there was definitely a harbour gate, as in for naval vessels to come through. I say naval, sea water vessels to come through. 1238. Yeah, I don't know then. I may have just made all that up about the wall. I didn't make it up, but most of the other gates, Bishopsgate, Aldersgate, Aldgate, Cripplegate, and the rest, are part of the original toll gate system, which we implemented in order to tax people. When I say we, they. Yeah. So I'm now up that flight of stairs, and I can still speak. That's the view from where we just walked, the Bloody Tower there. There is Tower Bridge, which isn't a part of the Tower of London, but was, when it was constructed, was in keeping aesthetically with the style, the medieval style of this place. Again, White Tower. It's now home to the Royal Armoury exhibition, the Line of Kings, which was initially I think a pre-Victorian display and was woefully inaccurate in places, but has now been amended where possible, and what's the word? Yeah, the information is now available. Hello. Right, I don't know why that is, Harry. I'm sorry. I just literally don't know why that should be. Maybe it's a different account. Okay, so can't film the crown jewels anyway, even if I wanted to, but they're housed in there. The clock that you can see, that's a later edition, definitely one of the Queens of England was executed just below and in front of that. There's no commemorative featured there, but I was told that by one of the yeomen. There's a yeoman. See the black hat with the red trim and or dark blue and red outfit? Those are... there were many more of them in days gone by. They formed the Royal Guard and are now some of the what's the word? Personnel who guard the tower. There were Gurkhas here up until last week. They rotate through with different regiments. I don't know who the guys are over there. So there are two of them over there. They were testing their shoes a little while ago, doing the stomp through the place. There's one over there, a lone sentry. That corner, the whole structure, the sort of cream and wooden, is called, now it's called King's House, but it was Queen's House, and it's off limits to the public, but it is historically significant. Where didn't I take you already? That we've been through. So there's Walter Riley's house again. He had quite a view, if you think of it, although I don't think the bridge was there at the time. Okay, let's think. I made a video of, I think I'm almost done, doing everywhere here. Right, okay, I'll just show you some outsidey stuff because, hello, oh my god, because the signal's actually holding, which is miraculous. Right, so people behind me there, that water fountain is 1913, just sort of throw that in. it says that I think the royal initials are G, George R, so it would be George VI, who was Queen Elizabeth's father, the late Queen Elizabeth. Okay, so am I gonna flip around? Can I see how to do it? Let's think. No, that's not it. Oh shoot. Okay. Ah, shucks. I haven't. Right, I do have my glasses. Excusez-moi. Aha. That's it. Right, so this commemorates some of the not very many executions that were held here, because lots of executions were held just outside of the walls on Tower Hill. But this, on the bottom row, it says, "Gentle visitor, pause a while where you stand. Death cut away the light of many days. Here jewelled names were broken from the wind. Thread of life." No, the vivid thread of life. And I've got my glasses on. "May they rest in peace while we walk the generations around their strife and courage under the restless skies." So that's that part. And then commemorated around, so that's, I think that represents a head, it's a pillow. Here, so there's one of the Highland rebels, 1743, Samuel Macpherson. Sadly, I don't know what naughty stuff he did. 1743, Malcolm Macpherson, potentially a relation, same year. It says close to this site were executed, oh sorry, I did the last three. William, Lord Hastings, in 1483. Queen Anne Boleyn, 1536. Margaret Pole, Countess of Salisbury, 1541. Queen Catherine Howard, because there were three Catherines for the same king, 1542. Jane Boleyn has to be a relative of Anne, who was Viscountess Rochford in 1542. Lady Jane Grey in 1554, really quite poignantly. Jane Grey was 15 when she was executed. She'd been Queen of England for 9 days, and she was most definitely a pawn, like in a power play. She was sort of bequeathed the monarchy by the king as he went out, because she was a Protestant, as opposed to Mary, who was a Catholic and became more devout as the days went on. And yeah, the crown was forced upon her, and then her head was wrested from her. So Robert Devereux, Earl of Essex, in 1601, and then we're back to Highlanders, Farquhar Shaw in 1743, Samuel Macpherson 1743, and Malcolm Macpherson also 1743. So the Highlanders, those were rebel forces, Scottish Highlands, and that was quite an honour. That's a weird thing to say, actually. To be executed within the Tower walls was usually reserved for like special people, and also beheading was considered a noble form of execution, as opposed to disembowelment or hanging, or hanged, drawn and quartered, meaning the convicted was hanged until they were unconscious. Then they were taken down from the noose, revived consciousness. Then they watched as their innards were taken out in front of them, usually burned, and potentially still alive. They were then cut into 4 pieces, and their forequarters were buried in multiple, 4 different locations. I'm not seeing the attraction myself, although obviously there were tyrannical monarchs, and there was religious fervour in all directions, which caused a bit of trouble, strangely. So we could have a listen to the yeoman, but he's talking pretty quietly, which is a little irritating, because usually they're booming. We could go into St. Peter Advincula, which we already have on a different bid, but let's have a little look, see. No, he's talking far too quietly. So this is Chapel Royal, and it doesn't say Yeah, it doesn't say what year. Although there is a yeoman there, and I'm going to ask him. He might not know. Can I just ask, like the approximate date of construction of the Chapel Royal?
Yeah, 1520.
He's on the ball. Thanks.
Exactly.
I'm glad you knew the answer.
That's all right.
I didn't put you on the camera just in
So
case
I'm
you said
working.
what. No, I know, but there's a lot of dates to be remembered.
Yeah, there is.
So 1543, or that's pre-Elizabeth, pre-Henry.
No, this is Henry VIII.
Oh, it is Henry.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was handy because his dad was
Two
Henry
of his
as well.
wives are buried in here.
Anne Boleyn and who's the other
Catherine
one?
Howard.
Catherine Howard, and the other lot just got lobbed somewhere out. Like,
Lady Jane Grey's in here as well. And then
yeah, she wasn't his though. Yeah.
Lots, no.
Yeah.
You got lots of lords.
1500.
nobles.
Were 1500 bodies
There's over
disinterred?
1700 in here.
He's just showing off now. 1700. I guess mainly unnamed, like shamed.
A lot of them are named, and they're mainly the nobility.
So, am I right in thinking that Tower Hill was the main, or not main spot, but
Main
nearest spot for it?
execution place.
So, those 1,700, would some of them be
A
from
lot of
where
them would have been executed on Tower
from
Hill.
outside? Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, you couldn't
Only
move.
6 people just there.
Yeah, I just had a look at those. Thank you. I'm going to have a little look inside. Cheers.
There's a bit where you can't video inside it.
Okay.
You can take pictures.
Do you know, I have videoed inside previously, and the guy was what? Maybe it's different. Guards have different. Thank you. Ooh, maybe I shan't. This here says, pretty like ignominiously or whatever the word is. Yeah, there's a memorial stone, but there's a bench also on top of it. Died in November 1820 something. Thomas. Oh, isn't it a shame? His name is. Yeah, Cut B, and then we don't know, could be a U, but also Clarissa. So yeah, sorry, this one is also really weathered. No, I can't make out. Oh, that's a shame. I can't make out the bench and my legs are aching, but yeah, there's 2 big tombs, although they're also unidentified at this stage. But yeah, I thought it was 1,500 bodies interred in this church, but there's 1,700 apparently. So if it comes to it, I shan't go in, but there's a lot of people in there. So I wonder which yeoman is behind the door. So let me just wait until there's that many people that I'll feel a bit odd doing it anyway, but I don't know that yeoman, so I don't like my chances. Let me just ask her. Am I allowed to video in here, or is it just photographs? Alright, thanks. No, I think I'll have to put a link to the video. I definitely asked the guy's permission because I am an upstanding member of the human race. As you can tell by the fact that I'm not sitting at the moment. Right, here's another little look around because it is so lovely here. So over there is, I'm assured it's Beauchamp, but it's spelt Beauchamp Tower. But then, yeah, I guess if it was originally called that, they were French, the Normans. So, and then, yep, King's House over there, Tower Bridge, the White Tower. The Fusilier Museum is over there. That's where I'm going to take you, if I can film in there. And then the crown jewels are there. One more.
Yeah, sure.
How do you pronounce the name of that tower?
The Beauchamp Tower.
Oh, shoot.
If you're really posh,
Beauchamp?
you might, yeah, you
Well,
could say.
I'm sure. Is it like 1200s? Because it
That
wasn't Norman
one's
then.
1280.
But it's spelt sort of Frenchified.
Yeah, French
Yeah.
think it's
I lost. I
Beauchamp.
know my dad's right, and
It is
I'm wrong.
Beauchamp.
Yeah, no. That's what he said. I won't tell him that you affirmed that. Thanks. Right, let's have a look in the Fusilier. I saw some really very poignant, like touching stuff inside. There's 2 more yeomen. Oh yeah, there's a guard. They look sweating, and that's not an insult. They are just. I'm quite warm. I keep taking my coat off, putting it in the bag, taking it out again, because it is England, but it is warm for April, that's sure. Oh yeah, they're red in the face, sweating. Right, another shot of the White Tower. Sort of dominates the place, which is handy because that was its purpose. Yeah, like I said, I can't take you into the crowd just. Oh, I could take you along the battlements, but I could just make a bit of that because just I can't. I'm sorry, I can see that you're all there, but I can't see the comments. Oh, actually, it's the glare on the. If I bump into anyone who's demonstrably Muslim, and I have the opportunity, I shall certainly tell them that Jesus is the truth. Obviously. Right. Okay, yes, let's do the Fusilier Museum. So these Fusiliers were, like, the regiment was formed at the tower. I don't know much about it, like I literally just went in there a little while ago. But there's a bullet with a crucifix, I think, like etched away in the end. I can't explain it, I'll show you. Am I alright to film? Oh, thank you. Right, so let's flip you all round. So this is all medals, this room. Let me just give you a quick, without getting too many people in there. Yeah, right, so then look, there's far too many. They're ordered by their recipients or bearers. So these are Lieutenant Colonel Field. Oh, I don't know what D stands for. Oh, I don't know. So there's majors, captains, lieutenants or lieutenants if you're America, major generals, and then we have, if my strength, yeah. So every drawer is also like, they are so pretty. That's Victoria. That's George, is it? I hope so, because now that's embarrassing if it isn't. It is. Yeah, there's a lion. I think that's Britannia here. Or I don't know yet. No, I think it's the lady on the top of the Old Bailey. Justice, it would be, wouldn't it? Unsurprisingly, I couldn't see properly. All of a sudden, the room is packed. Let's see. Hold on, I'll just vanity's out the window at this stage. So those chaps are the winning team, Henry Whitehead Cup in 1913. They're the 7th Battalion, and those are some of their service. There's interactive displays, because I think a lot of school children come here, which is lovely. So that's all sort of modernish. And then, again, loads of medals. This guy up here is Maurice James Dease. VC is the Victoria Cross of the Royal Fusiliers. He was born in a year that was marked in Latin numerals. Oh, how inconvenient. 1889. He was killed in action, and that's Maurice. Right, so let me tell you. Well, people still think I'm filming them, but I'm not. Right, let's. Which way? This way is less human beings. So that's the headquarters, the regimental headquarters, and there's me. Hi. What's this? So the refurbished museum was opened by Field Marshal His Royal Highness the Duke of Kent on the 20th of April, 2011. And in 1987 it was also refurbished and opened by the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor Sir David Roham. And in 1962 it was opened by Her Royal Highness Princess Marina, Duchess of Kent. That's a big long rifle. Fusel flintlock musket, early 19th century, courtesy of the Trustee of Royal Armouries, which is obviously behind me in another building. It says the regiment is called the Fusiliers because they were originally armed with a fusel, one of these long rifle muskets. The fusel is a flintlock musket. Unlike previous muskets, it did not have a smouldering wick after it was fired. This made it ideal for the regiment's original role guarding the Tower of London's guns and gunpowder, because that would have been really unfortunate if they fired and then they've got like a yeah, a smouldering wick and they're guarding gunpowder. That doesn't really make sense. So the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers was formed at the Tower of London in 1685 on the order of King James II. Their duty was to protect the guns and gunpowder stores. In 1688 they became a standard infantry regiment known as the 7th Regiment of Foot Soldiers and have fought across the world ever since. The regiment was renamed Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. Lancashire Fusiliers. That's not a photograph, but there's some examples of various uniforms, and that is a photograph, and I have no idea when it was taken because there's no credit for it. But it looks, you can't tell because there's no members of the public. Oh, I think the 50s. There's a lady holding her baby up on the top there. Could be the Queen. Who knows? This is some old dudes. He looks like, that looks like Wellington, but like a very young one. No, there are QR codes, but only 2 of them. Yeah, one of them's named Lieutenant Hope. Oh, that's a nice name. 1855, Victoria Cross. There he is, up there. I don't know if he's the one who's dying or the other guy. That is the Queen's Stand, and those are all like dudes. This is what I wanted to show you. I love this. I would I wouldn't be able to afford it all, but it's so beautiful. 1 second. There's some history, blah blah blah. Look at George. Look at him. So that's a recreation of St. George and the Dragon. The story of George and the Dragon. I know, that's all the info I have. Other than, George is the patron saint of England. The dragon potentially represents Wales, although I don't read that often. It is their national animal, and we have been a little bit mean to them in the past. Through no fault of our own, obviously. American War of Independence for any Yankee. No, sorry. Colonial cousins, as it were. So that it says the tragic end of Major John Andre. He served with the Royal Fusiliers during the American War of Independence, which, FYI, the English won. We were fighting Germans. There were no Americans prior to independence. But so he served during the American War of Independence. American rebels had rejected British rule, they were American after that, and the British Army were fighting to keep control, but sending Germans because of our King George. It was a war of secret intelligence and guerrilla tactics. The British Army struggled to adapt. You can read, obviously, but Andre was working for British secret intelligence when he was caught by rebels, hanged as a spy. And it says the worst defeat of the Royal Fusiliers was the Battle of Cowpens, 1781, where 300 men were killed or wounded and the regiment was all but wiped out. The rebels captured the King's colours. They're still displayed at West Point Military Academy in America. Give them back, etc. Right, guns, swords and uniforms incoming. 1 sec. So, it's very tiny writing. Field officers' spatulettes down there. Officers, I can't pronounce those things. So the swords are a sergeant's, an officer's and a dress sword. I guess in that order. There are there's medals coming out your ear rolls in this stuff, obviously. But it's a shame I can't name them. I'm going to look online for some information in order to put the link at the bottom. There's a quote on the wall that says, "Nothing could stop that astonishing infantry," which is quite... Oh, that's lovely. I really do like a bit of English history. That's a young Victoria on those medals. I can't really... This is so faded, I don't think it's going to come out other than my reflection. But... what is it? It says Albuera, 1811, was the bloodiest battle of the Peninsular War, The Royal Fusiliers joined the battle, having marched through the night to provide relief to those already fighting. Against difficult odds, the fierce attack of the British troops succeeded in turning the battle to victory. The regiment gained recognition from the contemporary historian Napier for their part in the battle, and Albuherra, I'm sorry about the pronunciation, Day, 16th of May, is still celebrated by the regiment. However, recognition came at a price, or even. The 1,282 Royal Fusiliers involved, of those, 706 were killed or wounded. That is the remnant of the regimental colour carried at the Battle of Albuherra. And those are belt buckles, musket balls, and shot from the battlefield of 1811. So there you have it. And then Napoleonic Wars, which is, you can't see that, 1796 to 1815, because we were all committed to the cause. These are the daring exploits of Private John Cooper. Unfortunately, they're all in a interactive. It says in some places the dead were in heaps. Some of those were 3 foot high heaps. We lay down in a storm of hail and rain, waiting for orders. The dead lay in rows where they had stood. The words "Fallen Fusiliers" roused us and we formed line. Shot, shell and grape. I'm not sure what fruit has to do with it, to be fair. Men are knocked about like skittles, but not a step backward is taken. Gosh. The orders were close up, close in, fire away, forward. The enemy's columns rushed down the other side of the hill in the greatest mob-like confusion. I think that we're back to the beginning. Yeah, in some places the dead were in heaps of those. One of these was 3 feet high, but I did not count the numbers in it. Well, he was probably busy, bless him. Right, this is Royal Connection. So this you would definitely have to rearrange your mantelpiece. I'm suggesting for this. That's a silver wine cooler presented to the regiment by King William IV in 1836. So that is just, I think, a year before Victoria came to the throne. Well, I don't think, I know. There's a recruiting letter authorising the regiment to recruit more men, signed by Prince Regent and Lord Palmerston in 1811. Up here as well. So a letter to the regiment from Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, from 1809, an earthenware jug presented to the regiment, a cigarette case belonging to His Royal Highness Prince George, Duke of Kent, Colonel-in-Chief of the Royal Fusiliers, who was killed in an air crash in 1942 during the Second World War. So it could hold quite a bit of wine, I imagine. Right, this is Sergeant Timothy Gowing. The fighting was now of the desperate kind, like there is another kind. What else is he saying? I think this is potentially available online. I think I'm in the way as well. One more grand push and a cheer and a charge brought us to the top of the hill. So these are some still photos from the time. I mean, just the most amazing, I'm going to call it courage. Right here, this little lot, those are obviously musket shot. It's sort of medals, headpieces, belt buckles. Another letter, which I'm sorry about the reflection. It says, with the spread of newspapers and magazines, stories from the Crimean War, which is, like you may be thinking of Florence Nightingale, that one, in the Crimea, it captured the imagination of the British public, but the accounts of battle did not please everybody. No way. In 1854, Colonel of the Royal Fusiliers Lacey Yea wrote to William Howard Russell of the Times. He wrote this: "My dear Russell, who is the writer of the enclosed ? Taken out of the Times of the 10th of October because it is fell back to reform. My regiment on the night never moved back. one old friend, Sir Edward Blakeney, in brackets, would be broken-hearted if he thought his regiment had been driven back. So, yeah, shame on the Times for reporting such divisive, potentially true stuff. That is a crucifix on... What is that? Number 9. That is a grave marker from the Crimean War. Oh, it's number 59. So there are at least another 58. The picture, the medals presented to Private William Coleman, who served 1854 to 64 for 10 years. That's like a cutthroat razor. I'm just going to check. It's a pocket knife, it says. That's still used by Coleman. The letter is a court-martial proceedings pertaining to William Harris, accused of pawning his uniform. Bless him. And Private Richard Robberer, accused of being drunk on duty. Court-martial is a military court, as you know, which tries and punishes members of the armed forces. This guy, whoever he was surely too big to be losing his other boot. I'm only joking. This is an iron boot used to uncover a defaulter in the regiment. I don't know what that means from the original. How would that uncover a defaulter? Oh, I haven't... Yeah, defaulting on what? Right, anyway, candlestick, everyone. Diary of Surgeon Hale, who was a recipient of the Victoria Cross. What's that? That is cutlery belonging to Colonel Shipley, used during the Crimean. That little thing there, number 5, is a Russian musket ball which wounded Colonel Shipley at the Battle of Inkerman. It passed through his leg and Shipley preserved it as a souvenir. Well, you would, wouldn't you? So it's in like the claw of a dragon. I don't know, it's been stylised. Let's keep going. Oh, so here's the boot. Let's find out. An iron boot was applied to the leg of R. Reginald, who was suspected of aggravating a wound in order to avoid duties. Oh. After 12 days in the boot, the wound healed. Reginald's deceit was uncovered and he was sentenced to 500 lashes by the court-martial. Yeah, that's a bit much though. He's just recovered from his injury, so let's injure him. These are some... this is quite touching, so let me put my glasses on. This is like the life of a soldier, I guess. This says, and it's in oldie writing, so... Defeat the enemy completely, receive the applause of Parliament as the heroes who gave peace to Europe, ordered home and reduced on half pay. So that's obviously him coming home to his wife and adoring children. And it says, struggle through the first year or two, get into debt from increase of family, sell and pawn everything, and at last unable to provide them bread. So that's him on his uppers, as it were, with, looking a bit dishevelled. And then here he is in probably Newgate, which was a debtor's prison. But it says, here my good fortune ceases, being incarcerated from the world, with nothing to exist on but the applause of my king and the thanks of my country, in brackets, meagre fare, my family. So, yeah. And on the little letterbox it says, pray... What does it say? It doesn't. Pray remember, no poor... I think deserter is it's meant to say. Or I don't know, it's like an abbreviation. So that's this room, out of the way. There's not too many. I think there's one more actually. So, okay, so here's some... Well, I'll show you in a minute because there are people behind me. Right, so... Here we go, let me show you this. So there's, unfortunately they're not commemorated. It says, in the heat of battle, Private Frederick Johns. There's like a memorial. That's that's like a collective memorial. It says, when the South African Boers rejected British colonial rule, the Fusiliers were sent to defend the interests, like our interests. Frederick Johns and the 2nd Battalion fought at Colenso. They were present at the relief of Lady Smith at Tugela Heights, and then spent the rest of the war in the Transvaal. John's war diary describes the tremendous firepower of the Boer army and the extreme weather conditions. It makes no reference to cruel treatment of the local people for which the British army were condemned after the war. Could just be nonsense. Right. This is all. It's lovely. Right, let's have a go. Let's show. This is all from the South African British stuff. That's beautiful. So there's, what is that? Let's see. That is a war memorial to those that died in the Anglo-Boer War of 1889 to 1902. There's a plaque and a base plate from the first shell fired at the Royal Fusiliers, so they obviously captured them. The tin is Queen Victoria's chocolate box, a New Year's present to all of her soldiers in South Africa on Christmas 1900. Bless her. These are, what are these? The Royal Fusiliers were selected for the Tibet exhibition because many of the men were tall and it was thought it would provide a psychological advantage over the Tibetan warrior monks who were short in stature. The campaign was characterised by harsh conditions, long marches and periods of inactivity whilst negotiations were taking place. Stationed at Lhasa for a month, the Fusiliers had plenty of time to buy exotic trinkets from the local traders. As you can see, although not all souvenirs were obtained that way. Went sightseeing to Gyantse through the principal monastery, a sight well worth seeing. I'm sending you some things which I snaffled. Sorry, that means they haven't signed who wrote that in there. That means purloined, which means accidentally borrowed with no intention of bringing it back, e.g. stole. Right, this is the Jewish regiment of the Royal Fusiliers. I'm going to flip you around so stage. So you see that sign, it says Jewish Soldiers Home. This plaque, I've taken a photo of it earlier, it says the colours of the 38th Jewish, in brackets, 38th, in brackets, Jewish Battalion, the Royal Fusiliers who fought under the British flag for the redemption of the Holy Land in the Great War 5674 to 9, which is in the anglicised Christian calendar is 1914. And then it's underneath in Hebrew. That's a menorah medal kind of thing. It's lovely. Some more medals. It's a soldier. It's another little soldier. Some more medals that I don't think I've ever seen any like those. Yeah. It's a little sword and a fusel. Flintlock, of course. That's a recreation, obviously, of George the King there in that box. So, the Jewish Brigade to Prime Minister of Israel. So, David Ben-Gurion served with the Royal Fusiliers in the Jewish Brigade. Huge numbers of men were recruited for war and battalions like the Jewish battalions, and they were formed from men of similar backgrounds. The Royal Fusiliers presented 74 battalions, the largest number of battalions a single regiment has ever presented during the war. Fusilier battalions fought at Mons, Gallipoli and on the Somme, and continued fighting in Russia after 1918 against the Bolsheviks. From 1914 to 19, e.g. the First World War, 22,000 Royal Fusiliers died in battle, and that's David Ben-Gurion, who obviously went on to a great height politically. One of the last little display things here, so I'm going to turn you around again. Okay, that just reminds me of the Kaiser. I don't know if you can see it. So that is a German spiked helmet, or Pickelhaube, sorry to any Germans, taken by A Company 9th Battalion Royal Fusiliers in front of Moke Farm on the 4th of August 1916. A German field cap from the First World War. A German Stahlhelm helmet issued in 1916. And that was to address the large numbers of casualties with severe head wounds caused by French warfare, and particularly by falling shrapnel. So down here, if you can see the feathered stuff, that's it. Right, the top one is the dart, dropped from a German aircraft onto British troops on the line. And the smaller is a small dart or flechette, dropped into Royal Fusilier trenches by a German aircraft during the Great War. So they were just weighted feathers. So they're very cheap to manufacture and quite decisive if they hit you in the helmet, as it were. Right. Illustrated War Diary, you can see in front of me. And then 50 centime voucher at the top there. Also a cigarette case beneath it. Biscuit nicknamed Hardtack. Do you see it there? Made from flour and water and eaten when perishable food was not available. Well, it's clearly not perishable if that's an original. The biscuits were dunked in drinks or ground up and made into porridge to make them edible. Bless their cotton socks, what they were living on. This varnished biscuit, kept as a souvenir, is covered in slogans from the period. Your army needs you, and this is what they feed you. Excuse moi. And that's called a Krasnov lamp, which is a brass paraffin lamp which requires no chimney. Up here, this is what I wanted to show you. If you can see the two books and the case in front of me and the bullet holes, I don't know if you can see them. Yeah. So that, the piece of leather around it means it was worn, folded like a wallet. And let me see the blurb. It says Holy Bible, I think it's the Old and New Testaments, and case pierced by a bullet, saved the life of Private Percy Edwards, 1st of July 1916, and he kept it as a war souvenir and obviously generously donated it either on his death or during life. There's a notebook belonging to one of the colonels at the top there. Princess Mary's Christmas gift, which was given out in 1914. The Blighty ticket. Blighty is a nickname for Britain, for anybody who doesn't know. Given to soldiers whose wounds meant they had to be sent home. And again, that's the Bible that saved some chap. And I guess that's the letter that he wrote when he donated it. Right, now we're going to play Guess Who. Yeah, it's me. You can have that point. But does anybody recognise this guy? I don't know if the light's any good. Let me see my own screen. No, you're not going to. Let me turn you in. Maybe yeah. Anybody? He was Austrian. I'm giving out clues. His initials were AH. He was a bit of a troublemaker. And he had a tiny little moustache. Anyway, that's Hitler to his probably not friends. And this guy, this bust of a guy, I don't know. I don't remember seeing him ever really portrayed. He's Italian. Can't remember his first name, to be fair. His second name sounds a bit breakfast cereal-ish. Anyway, that's Mussolini. Sorry if I just spoiled the competition. And then the last part, this is, well, that's definitely Nazi, obviously, unless there's a religious aspect. This guy, look at this little guy. That's not a badge. That duck, that part of a duck there, was the pet of the 98th Royal Fusiliers in 1944. Bless. I'm going to say her because it's brown. So yeah, no. Yeah, that's right. The females are quite dowdy for birds. That is metal cleaner. We've got a little field kit. All of these. Oh my gosh, look at the cigarettes, how teensy they are. And a cigarette card next to it. What's that? Soldier's sewing kit, nicknamed a soldier's housewife. There's a lot of old English money. A £1 note at the top, then 10 shilling note, then 5 bob, 5 shilling, 2 and 6, 2 shillings and 6 pence, 1 shilling, which is 12 old pennies of 5 new, well, kind of like 5 pence now, and a 6 pence, which is at the bottom, which we have coins for those. Right, I don't remember where I saw the bullet, which was carved into a crucifix. That's what is that? A general purpose machine gun, 7.62mm L7A2 with a mounting tripod, and it is rotational because when I was in here earlier it was pointed at me, rather hilariously. Colonel Bill Etches, 1968, British Army Royal Fusiliers. There's some interactive or like moving stuff. That says I'm fighting for my mates. That's a picture of the Union flag with some British soldiers. That's the modern regiment. Right, I want to find that little thingy. Oh gosh. Right, we're going to scoot back round everyone. But I've showed you every display case, but sorry, I didn't show you this guy. I don't think he was that tall in real life, but the uniform, actually. So that's obviously a bugle, crucifix and candles. Oh, sorry, a wooden cross and candles used in Korea by the Reverend Freddie Preston during his year as chaplain of the 1st Battalion Royal Fusiliers. So this is Korean stuff in the Korean War, which was in 1952, but I still can't find the... Let's have one quick peek. I'm just getting in everybody's way here. There's not in there. Let me ask that lady if she's... Excuse me, somewhere in here, and it's not that big, there's a little bullet with a carved cross on the top. It's like literally bullet size. But I feel like I've looked around everywhere, and it's either someone's nicked it since I was in 10 minutes ago, or I can't.
I think I kind of know where.
Yeah, it's not in that one with George and the dragon, but it.
What have you checked for the notebook side?
Oh, no, I've checked every room. It could. Yeah, no, that's the Bibles with the bullet hole. But it could be in there.
I'll be honest, it doesn't ring a bell.
It is. Well, no, it's a bullet. No, I'm joking. It is. It's definitely. It couldn't be anywhere else in the tower. I'm going to just, because I was busy bunnying. I might not.
Going to be anywhere
over here somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's. Isn't that annoying?
So it's got like a cross cut.
It's literally the tip of a bullet.
I'm sorry.
Well, now I'm less confident than I was a moment ago. But it was. I'm gonna have to ask. I was in
I
here
will
with
look
a-
in the other room because that's where I know, like we say, there
Yeah.
was some that had
Hang on, let me
this
just double. It can't be. It's all medals, isn't it? And belt buckles.
crossing it.
It's so little that you'd like. I've clearly walked past it again. But it was a friend of mine who was here with me who pointed it out earlier, and I was probably not listening properly.
It's not here.
Then I had a really vivid dream about 15 minutes ago. Oh, hold on. We stood here for a minute. No, though. Just by the way, there's some goggles and a sort of cutthroat flick knife razor type effort. Chopstick holders. No, how bizarre is that? I'm just going to have to Google it and post a picture
Yeah,
instead.
Google it. Like I said, I'm just trying to think where else it would be. It's not in the...
It's in this building. I mean, I'm having some sort of senior moment. I see now everybody. Yeah, you can't, now I can't see it properly. I'm guessing. No, it's whatever that. Right, see at the back. It is, I don't know, I haven't got my glasses on so it doesn't look clear to me, but that is a bullet standing on its end, and at the top of it they've replaced it or carved it, I hope it was empty at the time, into a cross, not a crucifix. And there's a load of medals and a knife and some more. Oh, that's the duck. Anyway, so there's Ducky and there's... Yeah, so this was the Battle of Monte Cassino, most defining of the Second World War. I've never heard of it. And it was... Monte Cassino was an old Benedictine monastery. Severely fortified by the German occupiers. Stood between the Allies and Rome. And the 8th and 9th Battalion Royal Fusiliers, serving as part of the 167th Brigade, began the attack on the 2nd of December, just in time for Christmas, everyone. And was soon joined by the 1st and 2nd Battalions, fighting together for the first time since 1918. Oh, memories. Mountainous terrain made it extremely difficult, and the campaign was a long one. Casualties were heavy, but the monasteries eventually fell to the Allies in 1944, thank goodness. And Donald Duck, even though it looks like a female to me, was the mascot. Okay. That's all she wrote, as it were. And I'm getting out because it's quite hot. I didn't think that lady. Shush. Right. Sorry, I don't know if I showed you. That's like a busby. What do they actually call them? Modern drummer's sealskin cap. Maybe it's not. It looks like a bearskin. That's what they're called. Like a so we can guess. Yeah, so that's... Oh yes, and this bag is one of the interactive. You can lift it, and I'm telling you, I mean, other than my handbag, it's this is a quarter of the weight that the Fusilier carries, right? Hold on. Literally, I just pulled something. So it's liftable, but it's 4 times that, and that's without the sandwiches and stuff. And there is an empty case there, so someone... I don't know. But yeah, so that is a heavy bag. And that's that. Let's get out. She's just clearing the riffraff who's sitting on the steps. Oh, there's another. That's the senator, I think, or a memorial anyway. Not there. But I'm just waiting because there's a. Move it. Down. Sorry. Right. Okay, so we're back out again. Thank you very much. Cheers. So yeah, just... Right, I think maybe I'll... I'll stop waiting for people to move around them. I'm going to be back here.
Go to the chair, have a look.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a surprise, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to sit down so I can see some of your comments. Or sitting down doesn't help, to be fair, but concentration is essential. Small buildings. That's the one of the towers of the Tower of London there. Tower Bridge. I do apologise. You can actually go up those, and there's like a perspex floored crossing above this part, because my vocabulary is now Dominion. Yeah, I don't know how you arrange that, and I'm not sure that my vertigo or my planned vertigo would do that. I'm going to show you a couple of the ravens, and at a later date I'll tell you which ravens they are because the information is on the phone. So let me flip. I don't know. Yeah, they are worryingly big when they're very close, and their beaks, they're like the size of like rifle bullets. They are. That's George on the left. That's what I do know because I can see the colour of the ankle tag. I'm pretty confident that's a female, despite her name, which is not Georgina or Georgette. It's just George. But that's them. They're not really doing. They're just preening, which is good because that means they're not looking murderously at me. They only bite, I think, if you offer them food. So, right, I think I'm going to actually stop now, if that's all right. Sorry, let's see. Like, obviously, God bless everybody. Never take the knee. That's a brilliant name, and I love the picture. Thank you, Harriel. Thank you, Armour of God, Miss Piggy. Watch a kiddo. I saw your name. Is that Daffyd? Most likely. All right. Yeah, that's too long of a name, and I don't really know you, so source. Marion. Oh, I saw the old gang. Oh, I love you people. Adrian. What's happening, kiddo? Martin. Oh. Adnan. I can't read your surname. Deku. Yeah, I just did. Yeah, I'm going to stop. I shouldn't have done that. Everybody else also, it's not because of any other reason that I didn't scroll back to your name and I have no spectacles on. Right, so final shot. And God bless you to that guy. And then this opens again. And the wind is, I don't know, what's that? Northwesterly. Nope, southwesterly. So there you go. Exactly. So yeah, on that bombshell. Right, God bless you and everything, and ciao, and I'll see you all shortly once I learn how to stop this software. Right, see you later, ciao, bye.